For our foreign visitors, this is England in the summer, in the rain, and it's totally delightful.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Where are we going?
I've got my bag, I've got my coat.
It's peeing down, it's a travelling brush dipper's wet day out.
It certainly is.
Hello.
Well, Denise, as a general rule, out past your shoulder, we would be looking at the most incredible views of the South Downs. This road runs parallel, and you've got the most beautiful view as a general rule of all the hills. And there's nothing today, we have complete and utter whiteout. So as we come past these trees, just have a little look and you can see precisely nothing.
Diddly squat.
Diddly squat. You, Denise.
I say it's wet.
It's blooming horrible,
Oh, it's been a horrible summer, hasn't it?
Yeah, and still raining, nothing different. So here we go, scanning a soaking wet car park.
But we're going to have a lovely day.
And it's really, really not nice. I love that sound of the wind through the trees. It's one of my favourite noises. Here it comes. I'm getting wet. I'm getting wet.
We have a twisted trunk.
I'm loving this. Isn't it beautiful?
So pretty, even in the rain.
Even in the rain, it's absolutely beautiful. I love the colours. And right there in the far background, can you see the orange drops, yellow drops of the rose hips? Look at those. Aren't they beautiful? I wish I knew what rose that was. I'd have that.
Stunning, stunning.
Oh yeah.
And these
Lovely,
hydrangeas
yes.
are beautiful.
Yes.
And the colours are just stunning.
Yes, because you collect hydrangeas, don't you?
Yes.
But look at the Rudbeckia. I'm not sure whether that's Rudbeckia or an echinaceous purple, isn't it?
Pass.
So that is going to be a Rudbeckia, isn't that just gorgeous?
I think that's a beautiful echia.
Lovely. Lovely, lovely. Me like.
And look, you even coordinate.
Yes. We were both in company colours today. Both in orange raincoats. But here we are, and this is the house here. So To be quite frank, the house itself is nothing spectacular to look at, but it's what's inside it that's really quite interesting. So come with us.
Shall we go and have a look?
And join us on our tour. Going back in history, Petworth was gifted to the Percy family in the 1100s by the widow of Henry I. Now, you may remember that the Percys were the most powerful family in the north of England and caused quite a stir throughout history, becoming kingmakers and eventually being put into disgrace. But the person that we're really interested in here is the third Earl of Egremont, and his dates were 1751 to 1837. And he was a shy man, but he was confident enough to disregard convention. He was a pioneer agriculturalist, philanthropist, and a racehorse owner. And he is best known really as a patron of the British arts and artists, and in particular Turner, J.N.W. Turner, and Constable. The grand stairs are something to behold. The very first version of this beautiful hallway was gutted by fire in 1714. And, you can just imagine the distress of that, can't you? So the owners then were the Somersets, and they commissioned Louis Laguerre. He was the most celebrated mural painter of the time, and he decorated the walls, but with a classical story that alludes to the earlier disaster. So if you just imagine, Prometheus stole fire from the gods, and man is consequently punished by the opening of Pandora's box, and that lets out all of the world's evils. So that is depicted on the ceilings. And then immediately above the stairs, the Duchess of Somerset is shown riding in a triumphal chariot with her daughters. Can you just imagine if that was you to have something like that in your house? It's just amazing, isn't it? The murals were completed in 1720, and that was just a year before Laguerre's death. This is supposed to be the cathedral in Chichester, and Turner painted the Chichester Canal. Apparently, the little man in the boat is actually supposed to be Turner. Here we have a picture of the grounds of the Petworth estate, and more of the same. 3 lovely paintings. This, of course, you'll recognise Charles I. Well, I wish I could tell you who this gentleman was, but I'm sorry, I'm ignorant. But I love the painting. Look at the beautiful velvet of his sash or satin, but the sheen on it. And how about that hair? My word, that hair. Do you think it was his own, or could it have been a wig? She's caught me at a moment, actually, because my favourites, Van Dyck's, Titian's, they're all artists that make my heart move. And I mean that. And then I look at some of them and they make me want to cry because I just think they are so stunning. So if we look at these behind me here, And we've got these chaps here. Perfection of the skin, right down to the bobbly noses. I mean, they're just perfect. And if you could go up to the one at the top,
Can I zoom in on that one?
look at the sheen on that satin. Well, that is, it could be silk, but it's just, I love them.
So this little set of stairs is by the kitchens.
And these are the tunnels that go underneath the courtyard and run the length across the courtyard and along underneath the house to come back up to provide food for the main dining room, because of course it's such a large place, and to walk across outside, everything would be cold by the time it got there. And apparently underneath here, the lady said we've also got the cellars, the strong room, etc., all the sort of stuff that you want to keep safe and secure.
There was boot room and the wine cellar and
yes,
the butler's pantry where he kept the silver.
Yeah. So it's all downstairs underneath in these tunnels.
So we have to try and find the other end in a minute.
Yes.
So what have we got here?
This is the other doorway from the servants' quarters, the tunnels that go underneath. This is where they would come up to bring food.
So if I step back, this is under the oak staircase and the dining rooms are through the end there.
Yes. The kitchens were an absolute revelation. They had a fully automated spit over a fire, which was incredible. They also had a built-in brick oven for baking and for bread. But it was extra special because this kitchen had one of the first boilers, a proper boiler, stoked with fuel, and this boiler worked to heat water, to heat the house, to heat the ovens, something that hadn't been done before. If we look on now, we'll see that they used it for the pans full of water, hot water baths with taps so that they could empty them out. You had a built-in oven, a warming oven underneath, and so many skillets and copper pans and jelly moulds and copper, brass and brass. It was amazing. And of course it was all beautifully cleaned. You know, I can really appreciate it. At one stage in my life, I had bowls like this, and I know what it took to keep them clean. This is the old sink. Now that even was copper and had been repaired several times over. Here we have the knife sharpener and cleaner. And this was the dairy and a real marble slab. And why is a marble slab important? Because you can keep the pastry cool while you work it.
It's not just me that has something to do with we're in the car driving somewhere.
Look at these pots, how shiny are they all?
Look at this. Can you imagine all the look at all the brass pots on the table. Can you imagine having to clean those?
That's what they had
you have
staff
to
for.
clean them? Because of course if you get a little bit of salt or some lemon juice or something on there, or something acidic, vinegar, it would be marked, wouldn't
It'd be
it?
blackened, wouldn't it? And these ladies are looking up at this door. How'd you get into that door up there?
Carefully.
But I think it might be like the head servant or something. But it's a beautiful little room. It's clearly still part of the servants' quarters. I love the teapot on the fire. That's just on a little stand just to keep warm.
Oh yes. Yeah.
So you've always got
a cup of tea. Oh, look what's on the mantelpiece there.
Oh yes, a little decanter.
A little decanter of something nice
Cup
to
of tea and a nip of something.
to warm the cockles of your heart. I don't know what those are though on that shelf, do you?
Probably lamps. You probably put candles in them and they
Oh,
would
of course,
shine
and it would,
light
yes, yeah, that makes sense.
so that you could carry on working into the dim dark
Yeah.
hours.
As you did in those days. What an amazing little room. Very nice and privileged for the head of the servants.
Now this is a photo of some of the household staff, and in the middle is the French chef. That little room we were looking at, we've since found out, was the French chef's sitting room.
Because he knew his place, he knew how important he was,
and
the lady has just said that he had skills that our chefs at the time didn't have.
These look like footmen around him, actually.
Yeah, fabulous. Here we go. So where is this, my darling?
This is called the Still Room, and it had its own maids. I'm reading off the thing, and it was under the control of the housekeeper. But this is where they did all the bottling, preserving, jarring, jamming, chutneys, all of those kind of things. And I think some of the things we ought to try one day, because they used to do things which included prunes in gin, strawberries in champagne. That all sounds good. Candied and preserved fruit, brandy with infused fruits.
Oh, I fancy that.
Yes.
I fancy that. And who's the lady up here?
Says her name is Mrs. Elizabeth Purser, and she was here until she was 86 years old, and 60 of which she passed in this room. I presume she was allowed out sometimes, but this was her role for 60 years, and she was 83 years old when this picture was painted of her. But she's been working in here for 60 years. What an amazing...
She must have known it inside out, mustn't she? But do you know...
Every trick of preserving.
I don't know when the room was last used, but standing here as you walk in, you can still smell the vinegar and the pickling. Can't you?
Yeah,
it must be.
Faint, but it's in the walls.
It's there.
It's got to be in the walls.
And in the floors, of course, yeah. You can smell it.
So what have you seen? What have you found? Did you bring them? Do you want mine?
Oh, it's a simple refrigerator. Look at this.
I can't see, you've got my glasses on.
For all boiled stews, etc., put saucepan on the fire, the meat and being in cold water. This is Old English, God blimey. Bring to sharp boil, then skim if necessary and boil from 5 to 10 minutes. Place saucepan in apparatus. The cooking then completes itself in nearly the same time as if the fire were used all along. So it's kind of like a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
It's very gloopy. I don't think I could have picked that up to it. That's lovely. Look how squidgy it is, look. Needed more chocolate on top. Needed more chocolate. As mentioned earlier, the Earl of Egremont was a great, great advocate of the artists of the day, and William Turner and Constable, John Constable, were often there visiting and very often forgot to go away again, just stayed and painted and enjoyed life there and the hospitality. However, very often they weren't there together because the two of them couldn't bear each other. They absolutely hated each other. Of course, in those days, there were plenty of people writing letters back home and to family, and we've got some lovely records of things that people said about the place. And the artist Benjamin Robert Hayden said about Petworth in 1826, "Everything is solid, liberal, rich and English." Then in stark contrast, you have a chap called Henry Edward Fox, who visited in 1828, and he said, "The want of comforts, of regularity, and still more the total absence of cleanliness made it, splendid and beautiful as it is, far from being agreeable. People of all descriptions, without any connection or acquaintances with each other, are gathered together and huddled up at the dinner table." However, in the same year, we're back in 1828, another comment from someone who went to supper, and he says, "The dinner was of the first order, turtle, venison, more game, etc., without stint. The servants, too, were very numerous, though most of them very advanced in years, and tottered, and comical in their looks. The wax candles were sufficiently numerous to light us up well, though we were at one end of the room 60 feet long." As you could have imagined, there would have been a lot of time for leisure. And C.R. Leslie watches Turner sailing paper boats on the lake that you can see here with the house in the background. And he said, "He rigged scraps of paper torn from his sketchbook upon 3 little sticks stuck in a bit of board to represent a full-rigged ship, which to my great delight he then launched upon the lake." You can imagine it, can't you? The picture you're looking at here is of John Constable, and he described Petworth in the early 19th century. He said, "The house today still contains one of the best art collections in Britain, from dazzling portraits by Van Dyck to golden landscapes by Turner. But for all its austere facade and grand galleries, Petworth remains a family home, and there is much more to it than just art." Now we move on to the galleries. A baffled visitor in 1828 said, "It is in vain to attempt anything like detailed description of the immensity of pictures on the ground floor of the house. Then they're all mixed up together, good and bad, and the third Earl is perpetually changing their places." Join Denise and I as we sit down and discuss some of the exhibits. I just want to talk to you about this one. This is a Van Uden, and the colour of it, just look at the colour. And over here, you can barely see it. There's a whole procession of people with a couple of white horses. You can't really see what's going on. Now, back in the day, when this was originally painted, this would have been the most stunning of colours. And of course, as time goes on and the pigments that they used to use, the greens would have been bright and vibrant. But nowadays, because the yellows they would have used would have been lead-based probably, they oxidise with air, and of course the colours all just fade out and go to this brown. And we've lost so much in that respect. So we're just sitting here looking at some of the statuary on this side of the room, and we're looking at this young lady. Is it a young lady? It's got no boobs, it can't be a young lady.
It's got to be a bloke. See, now you came up with a very sensible suggestion that he had a tablet that he was writing on, particularly as he's got a pen in his hand. And I think it's a designer handbag and fag. Could even be a scarf.
She's a bad woman. She really is a bad woman.
He's rather
I
pretty,
like
isn't
him. I think he's beautiful. Got a lovely face.
He's also been down the waxing salon though, hasn't he? He's very,
Well,
very
so's
smooth.
Lee Mead. I've seen him in Joseph's their Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh, okay.
No man comes that smooth, I don't believe. Look at that. I think he's got a beautiful face. So, he's got a... What's the crook, the walking stick? He's got a greyhound type dog. Lurcher kind of dog, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know much about dogs, as you may well gather. But I think that is a beautiful statue.
Could he be a shepherd? A shepherd's crook and a
Possibly
sheepdog?
with a dog, yeah.
Do you know where we can buy a sheep costume?
Ooh.
If that's what shepherds look
You
like.
fancy being rounded up, do you?
Did I say that out loud?
Yes, you did, and I'm going to keep it in there too. And I like these two heads, these busts either side of the doorway.
Yes, they
Look
are
at
rather
his
handsome. The
face.
character in it.
Look at his face. And the waves in that beard, look.
Yeah, isn't it amazing?
And then look at the lady on the other side of the doorway. I think she's beautiful.
She is beautiful, but she does look like she's got something under her nose that she doesn't like to smell.
Yes. Yes. And then, what's this young man doing here?
He's got grapes in his hands, so is that Bacchus?
Could be.
Now, depending on whether you're Greek or Roman, it could also be Dionysus, who is the goddess
That's
of
true.
wine. And the goddess of wine is who I'm named after. That's where my name comes
Is it? Denise? That's where it comes
from.
from.
Dionysus, yes.
The statuist chappy up here on the fence. They are lovely, aren't they? I don't know how you take a piece of stone and you conceive a 3D in it. I can't do that. I've tried it modelling dolls and things, and I have managed, but it's very difficult. Look at that. So we talk nowadays about man buns, but there you are, looking at some ancient statuary. And bless him, he's standing there. What's he got in his hand? Nothing. There is something in
There's
his
something in
hand.
his hand. I don't know what it is.
We'll have to go and have a
There's a
look.
snake coming up the tree behind him. Serpent.
Ew. Don't like snakes.
No, you don't do.
No. Now, what do you think about this man sitting here? Is he sitting there saying, "Give us a penny for a cup of coffee, Gov"?
Swiss bun. I'm not going to give him any
Swiss bun.
He's got Swiss bun in his cup.
It does look like a Swiss roll, actually, doesn't it? Yeah. And how about this amazing person behind? Look, isn't that the most gorgeous face? Yes. And again, look at the elaborate hairstyles.
Oh, and the carving to create that elaborate
Yeah,
hairstyle.
yeah. Oh, standing near the fourth then, look.
Yes.
I know.
So when we come around the other side, we realise he's not about to go on a roller coaster. He's sat on an anvil, and there's this rather cherubic young lad up behind him. What did you find out?
Look at the veins down his arm. Can you see down his arm?
How lovely.
Yeah. It's very difficult looking through a screen.
Now we're looking at a couple of other statues here, and we've got this chap here who's a pugilist, as you said, a boxer. He's obviously bare knuckle fighting. And then we've got this lady down here who is absolutely beautiful and elegant. But I have noticed she's got an Olivia Newton-John 1980s headband.
Oh yes. Oh yes, let's get physical.
Now we are sat here, and we're trying to decide who to draw. And we're looking at we're looking at this chap here, and we can't quite work out why he's using hairspray. So he's putting on hairspray.
Actually, I think he's borrowing it from her.
Yeah, she's got
No,
beautiful.
I
hang
know
on.
what it is. I know what it is. He's a hairdresser, and she's sitting there. She's just had her hair done. Look at her
really,
ringlets.
they're beautiful,
So
aren't
she's
they?
just had her hair done. He's a bit distracted by the boobage, maybe.
Maybe.
So he's
He's got the hairspray.
that is definitely a ta-da moment,
Yeah.
isn't it? He's
He's
decided
revealing,
that, you know, I've done her hair and she looks lovely. And what do you think, madam?
Yes,
All right.
right.
He's
So-
even got the towel in his hand.
I know. Right, so we've got this chap in the corner here, and he's got a wild boar head. Is there more of it? It's just a wild boar. No, it's the whole
Yeah, the
boar.
whole ball's there.
But we think he's probably about to do something rather nasty to
No,
that.
I don't want to do that.
So we don't want to do that.
No.
Now we've got this one in the middle, and this is who killing Satan?
Yes.
Somebody's
Yes,
killing,
I can't
allegedly
remember.
killing
Yes,
Satan, and that's
yes.
Satan down there.
Yes, he doesn't look very happy, does he?
Bit twisted, but he's got some nice muscles on his
Yes,
back.
yeah.
Beautifully sculpted.
Yeah.
However, I'm not sure I want to do somebody killing somebody else.
No.
Apparently, this is one piece of marble. Apart from the spear,
That's right.
it is one single piece of marble, which is quite impressive.
Uh-huh.
Quite impressive.
It's jolly good.
And then we've got the falconer over in the corner. Now, if I'm
Yes.
going to do a falconer, I'm going to do Kirsty, aren't I?
Yes.
So, yeah, that's the falconer
Yeah.
over in the corner.
Poor swan, though. He's just got the swan dangling by its neck.
Yes.
So.
He's not been swan-upping, has he?
No. No.
So I think that's for the table, that swan. So do you think the falcon probably killed the swan?
That would be a bit of an ask, wouldn't it?
Well, certainly the
Don't you
falcon
think?
could have distracted the swan.
Yes.
Anyway, right, now
Okay.
we've got these guys here. I think I need to pull back a little bit on these guys.
Now, Denise thinks this chap's just getting ready to go on a roller coaster.
Well, either that or one of those old-fashioned railway carts, you know, the ones where you kind of push and pull, you know,
Yes,
like
yes.
Charlie Chaplin would be in, where he's about to do
I'm wondering why this lady's got a belt on when she's not wearing anything else. If you look, she's
her
got
warm.
something to keep her warm.
Not very warm,
Her
but
mum didn't tell her to put a vest on, did she?
she didn't teach her to tuck her vest into her knickers. So we're trying to decide what to paint, so we're going to turn around and we'll show you the other side.
So, back at the car.
What a fab day, really enjoyed it.
Footsore,
Yes,
because we walked miles. Be interesting to see how far we have walked later on when we have a look at the phones. Fabulous day. We're just saying it felt like we'd been to the National Gallery somewhere.
so many original paintings,
Yes.
from William Blake
Reynolds,
to Turner to
yes.
Joshua Reynolds to
Hieronymus Bosch.
Bosch.
That's a difficult one to
that
say.
it
That.
certainly is, to people from Canaletto School.
Yes, yes.
So many.
Yeah.
It almost was, well, it was overwhelming, really.
Yes.
And the sculptures were amazing too.
So thoroughly enjoyed our day, haven't we?
Yeah, I think
thoroughly
we've
enjoyed
we've
our day.
earned a little sherbet when we get in.
Do you think so?
A little one.
Cup of tea first.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for visiting us, coming with us to visit Petworth House. We've had a lovely day and we'll see you next time. But in the meantime,
Thank
why
you.
don't you?
Dip into our conversation.
Bye!
See ya.